Thanks for checking out this movie review video. This is for the 2022 film Grimcutty, and I'm trying to get caught up on a bunch of 2022 horror releases so I can do my video at the end of the year of my top 10, maybe more, I don't know, of 2022. But anyway, Grimcutty was on Hulu when I saw it. Written and directed by John Ross, who also did Freaky Farron, Shadows of the Dead, Sunny Family Cult, and The Birch, just to name a few things. I have not seen any of them. This is a newer film. Obviously it just came out this year when I'm putting this review out, so this is a no spoiler review. Although I will talk about some metaphors and subtext at the end, and I can kind of let you know when that's coming up. Now, this film is based off the kind of Momo online lore, urban legend to a degree. If you didn't follow that, you can actually look it up. But I would say, if you don't know what it is, watch this movie first, because it is a pretty good movie, and then look that stuff up. Because otherwise, looking that stuff up first might actually kind of spoil a little bit about the actual film. Quick synopsis. It is about some kids in a town who are being affected by this thing called Grimcutty, which is kind of akin to that Momo situation, or Slender Man online, the creepypasta phenomenon of Slender Man, which I heard the movie of that was really terrible. But it's it's basically about them dealing with that. It is obviously life-threatening within the film, and then there's kind of this investigative aspect where the kids are trying to figure out, what's the origin of this Grimcutty thing, and why are people dying from it, and how do we solve this situation. So, engaging, interesting. I do recommend it. I thought it was pretty good. It seems on its face, or if you see a trailer or read the synopsis, it's going to be something that might not be all that interesting, but it is. It is. So it starts with really good tension and atmosphere, and a big moment right before the title screen. Something that really gets its hooks into you and is pay attention, here we go. This is actually going to be an interesting ride. It is a lot of great technical stuff too. Really good acting, really good cinematography, directing. It looks great. Good music. There are a few moments where the music gets a tad bit overbearing, but it's nothing too insane in my opinion. There's a very strong commentary on online and phone addiction in this. Now, that's not subtext. That is in your face. And one of the things I would say that I dislike a bit, not a lot, but a little bit about this film is how on the nose a lot of the stuff it's dealing with is. I like stuff like this kind of more subtextual, as opposed to just very much in your face and kind of beating you over the head with it. But it still plays well with the story, to be honest. And some of it, while it seems like maybe it's better as subtext, it kind of has to be in there to a degree because of the story itself. So it kind of put me in the situation where I'm I don't really like this aspect of it, but I kind of feel like they have to do it. So it is what it is. But yeah. You see the actual Grimcutty thing pretty early on, full on in the film. It's a mix of practical effects at times and CGI at times. For the most part, the CGI is looking pretty solid, as is the practical effects. But once again, when they have the longer shots on that CGI, you start to see rough edges. It starts to look a little wonky. Also, movement is a little weird, to be honest. It seems slower than it should, although this isn't a human thing, so I guess it can kind of be explained away that way in a sense. There are a few humorous moments within the film, and they're not insanely funny or anything like that, but the humorous moments are, they're fine. They're fine. Some people really like an injection of humor in their films, and it's usually pretty welcome for me as well. There's an investigative aspect of the film that helps keep you engaged. I already talked about that when I was giving the synopsis, but I love that aspect where it's kind of they're trying to get to the bottom of things, and they're uncovering little tidbits of the bigger story in just these little crumbs of interesting bits that are dropped at good pacing throughout the film. So overall, I think this is pretty well paced at times. And that kind of investigative aspect, I think, helps a lot. It's an hour and 40 minutes long, and it doesn't feel very off for being that long, to be honest. So pretty good job on that pacing. Although that's for the majority of the film. Towards the end portion, it actually does drag. There are numerous moments where you feel like, okay, is the ending coming up soon? Is the ending coming up soon? It just kind of seems like maybe they got into this situation where they didn't fully know how to end it, and they just kind of kept going. So I think the ending needed to be a little bit more succinct, maybe have 5 to 10 minutes cut out of the film for that reason. Because once again, the pacing's really good, but then you get to the end portion and it starts to fall apart a little bit as far as pacing goes. I don't really like that they have a character say all of the themes and the subtext out loud like the audience is stupid at the end. Now, being a little more on the nose and a little more in your face about things, okay, I understand that, because like I said, they might kind of just need that for the actual story. But literally having a character basically speak to the audience and say, here's what you should have picked up from this film. I don't like that, because like I said, it feels like you're treating your audience like they're stupid. Like, let me explain this in plain language to you because I don't trust that you're smart enough to get this. Everyone is smart enough to get what's going on in this one. So I just don't appreciate that. This plays very heavily on parental fears about their kids, what they consume online, and how it influences them. That's very apparent. That's not subtext, it's very in your face. It's like going on the entire film. You feel it. They actually do a good job of kind of like having the relationships between children or kids and parents kind of contentious, misunderstanding, a lot of miscommunication going on, tension going on there that I'm sure a lot of people who are parents of kids of a particular age can really understand and kind of sympathize with one way or the other, or maybe even both ways. I don't know. Like, I could see both sides of things, and I think you're supposed to as an audience member. It's a pretty on-the-nose metaphor at play here, but it's also effective. Like I said, I kind of feel like they had to go there with the story to a degree. It does do a good job of illustrating the communication barrier between parents and their kids. This is done to varying degrees of success in a lot of films, even horror films. And I think in this one, it's definitely one of the better ones that I've seen, where you get you can feel the frustration. Like, you understand the side of the parents, you understand the side of the kids. You get the frustration from the parents, you get the frustration from the kids. Like, you understand everyone involved. You feel how they're feeling. And as an outsider looking at this, you're kind of like, oh, get it together. Like, let's come together. Let's get this done. But that's reality, so it kind of forces you into that, even though you don't want that stuff to be happening within the film. All right, this is where I'm going to talk about some stuff that might be a little quasi-metaphorical, subtextual, spoilery, so if you want to stop, you can. But it's not ruining any of the events. There's something here that feels a lot like A Nightmare on Elm Street. That's the big thing I just want to put out there. It feels a lot like A Nightmare on Elm Street. If you've already watched it, just think about it in that context. Let me know if you think I'm right or wrong on that one. I don't want to say why for me in particular, because it will ruin something about the film, but it feels like A Nightmare on Elm Street in some ways. There's some ASMR in this, and I really just cannot deal. I know ASMR is a thing that people like. I know ASMR is a thing that's very popular online. There are literally a lot of entire YouTube channels dedicated to it. For me, I really hate it when it shows up in film, because it has an opposite effect on me, where most people who are into ASMR, they get kind of like a pleasurable sensation from listening to it. It's the opposite for me. It's like nails on a chalkboard. It makes me very uncomfortable. I just want it to be over. I hate it. So I just did not like that aspect of it. But there will be people who really do. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on Grimcutty. Overall, I liked it. I enjoyed my hour and 40 minutes with it. Well, a little bit less because, I don't watch the credits all the way through. But out of 5 stars with half stars in play, I'm giving it a quite good 3.5 star rating. I think people should check this out. For sure. I think a lot of people will end up liking it. So let me know your thoughts on this film if you've seen it already. We can talk spoilers in the comments. Go ahead, put it down there. Let's talk about this film. Love it, hate it, in between. Let's go. Do me a favor, hit subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate that. It keeps me motivated to keep this stuff going. And yeah, that would be super awesome. Also, if you could hit the notification bell button, because then you'll know when I'm putting up new videos, which I'm doing at least 4 a week, which I think is a good amount. But regardless, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this particular video. And until next time, keep it brutal.